Hey, so Ben and Tanner, how the heck are you today? And t tell me what is your favorite thing about your documentary?
Oh
My
man.
favorite, my
Oh, go.
favorite thing is that Tanner's the director, number one, and it tells an incredible story, man. It tells a story about overcoming the odds. Every single person in this world needs to hear this documentary. This is why. Every single person is yearning for a connection with other people and mostly with themselves. Brother, I'm telling you, my almost my entire life, I dreamed and I wished of a situation where I just felt like I could be myself. I could just absolutely be confident and comfortable in who I was. And so I could just flex me. I could start living life. I'm telling you, brother, this documentary, we just watched it last night with a screening, and the guy who brought us in got up and turned around to the people around him and said, "Oh my gosh, this is the best documentary I've ever seen." Why? It's the modern day Rocky story, man. I'm telling you, when you watch this, you feel like everyone talks about the Rocky when he's in the ring fighting the Russian. I'm telling you, this talks about the trials and the tribulations and the wins and the journeys and how you get back up and the people around you to help you do it and stand out.
That's right. That's beautiful. Tanner, do you want to add? What do you think is the best thing about this documentary?
Man, I think the best thing that I've take away from this is that this is a story that is like true. This happened. This is not made up. This is not embellished. This is what Ben did, what he went through, and he is the person that's in this film. And I think that is just so inspiring to know that this guy really exists, and he really has overcome so much. And if he can do it, why can't we?
That's true. He's making the rest of us look bad.
No,
So
he's lifting us up, man. That's what he does.
there you go. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. How did you two link up?
I've known Ben for a long time. Not as we weren't close friends, but we grew up in the same hometown. And I mean, everybody in that town knows Ben Kjar. I mean, you couldn't be you live there and not know who Ben was. He's just got a magnetic personality. Even from being as a little kid, everybody wanted to be his friend.
I like it. And tell me about like the initial conversations that you two had about what kind of documentary you wanted to make. What were some do's and don'ts?
I'll tell you this, Tanner had the great idea. We were invited to do a small presentation, man, almost like a year ago. And it was in a film festival. And they said, "Hey, what's your documentary gonna be about?" And bam, they put it right up there on film that it would be a mix between the movie Rocky and the movie Wonder. And I tell you what, if you've seen the movie Wonder, it's about a boy with a facial difference. If you've seen the movie Wonder, his mom is Julia Roberts and his dad is Owen Wilson. And it talks about his siblings. It talks about the people around him. It talks about the individuals in his life that didn't believe in the little boy. The little boy's name is Augie. And then to mix that, a facial difference with going into society as Wonder teaches, going into school, being made fun of, being called monster, and then at the end having a triumphant story of just not just fitting in, but truly standing out and making a difference. And then you mix that and you marry that with the movie Rocky. That's an absolutely underdog story, someone who shouldn't, like, was written off by a lot of people, and that triumphs and that does the work, that looks in the mirror and says, "You know what? I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going to say, watch me, and I'm going to do it." And as you bring those two together, there's a lot of people. that don't believe that this person can do it. Not only the doctors saying, guess what? This boy can't do contact sports. Keep him away, wrap him in bubble wrap. And then that Rocky spirit within me said, not today, not today. We're going to roll and we're going to roll big. And so, what we've done in this documentary is we've pointed at the fences, just like Babe Ruth did. And we're saying, listen, we're hitting it out of the park. It's been really cool, man. Just a couple days ago, we had our world premiere, standing ovation, even before the film was over. Tanner was sitting there on the front row with his kids as they watched him create this incredible film. And Yahoo Entertainment just mentioned us um, a couple times, and then it's just been really cool. It's been really cool to see how it's been spreading just pretty quick already.
That's great. And was it fun to reminisce, to talk about your life, to sort of sit back in like a therapist couch and recollect and reminisce? That must have been kind of neat.
It was incredibly neat. It was incredibly hard sometimes as well, because Tanner and team came to me and they said, "Hey, we're gonna tell us some tough times." And I said, "You know what? I think I'm ready." They said, "Well, tell you what, really dissect your life in the dark areas where you probably tuck some stuff away." I think all of us in hard times try to forget some of these moments. And I was able to uncover them a little bit. I was able to tell the story really raw, honest, open, so that the people in the seats can hopefully be touched. Every single film, every single time, people are just in tears. They're happy, they're sad, they're frustrated, they're joyful, they're hopeful. And then at the end, there's just some surprises we have in store where people literally get off their seat just ready to run through brick walls, man. They're just motivated to be better and motivated to stand out.
Beautiful. And tell both of you tell me what was Slam Dance like?
Oh man, we had such a great time. Seriously, I mean, we're Utah boys, and we're used to slam dance being in Utah. This is the first time in LA, right? But I mean, man, what a place to have it. Like seriously, we could not be happier to be able to come here to Hollywood and and be a part of this here. We had an amazing world premiere, like packed the house, seriously sold out, and it could not have gone better. It was so well received. We just were absolutely thrilled with the reception here at Slam Dance, and to be a part of it here.
All right. And Ben, do you like how do I say it? Fake wrestling? Like WWE style wrestling? I know that's not your thing. That's not what you did. But are you personally a fan of that stuff?
Grew up being a fan of that stuff. Are you kidding me? Jake the Snake, Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, those were the guys. I
Oh
loved
yeah.
seeing those guys. Yeah, I mean, wrestling. There's some techniques to that. A lot of everyone knows it's choreographed, but man, it takes athletes to do it. It takes warriors to do it. And speaking of the Ultimate Warrior being one of them, it takes these guys being brave and courageous. Man, they get hurt. There's no joke. That blood isn't fake. But yeah, we're part of the Olympic style wrestling that was in Greece many years ago. And yeah, it is the modern day gladiator. I mean, literally, instead of being a coliseum, we're in a ring. We weigh in. There's a battle before the battle even starts, just mentally and emotionally, physically with making weight. And then you get out there. There's no face masks. There's no pads. It's just, dude, you're barely wearing like a leotard singlet, you know? I mean, it's literally hand-to-hand combat. And we have a few rules. There is not a greater sport in this world. It has taught me so much. It has changed my life. My parents said this, Ben, we don't have a farm. My mom grew up on a farm. She said, we don't have a farm, Ben, to teach us to work hard. So outside of your chores and your daily, jobs that you need to do, you are going to be able to wrestle.
Hmm.
And wrestling was that farm for me. Wrestling was the thing that taught me tenacity, hard work ethic, and resilience. It literally changed my life and gave me confidence.
Beautiful. And which wrestler do you think you're most like?
Man, that's a great question. You know what? Man, I like to say I'm like Ben Kjar. That's what I'd like to say.
Yeah, of course, of course, of
You,
course.
you know what? Growing up, there was a short, stocky wrestler named Sammy Henson. He was a world champion. And I had people come up to me and say, "Hey, you remind me of him." And pretty physical approach, like to get after it. And Sammy was just a good role model and a mentor to look after, very successful, and he never wasted a second, man. Never wasted a second. And I think in life, if we can take that approach, that's a great approach to take.
Good stuff. So if you were to recommend another documentary to watch, either before or after yours, which one are you gonna pick?
Hey, I'll give a I'll give a shout out since we were at Slam Dance to the film that played before ours.
Okay.
There was a short film, a short doc that played just before ours called Through Thin Ice. Another Utah film that played with us. Beautiful doc, man. And it seriously was the perfect pairing for us at our screening. We were so happy to have them with us. And I know that, Slam Dance is about over, but there is like a virtual component this year where people, if you miss the films, you can buy a pass and watch all the films that were there at Slam Dance this year. So yeah, that'd be my answer.
All right. And Ben, for aspiring wrestlers or new wrestlers, what's your advice to them?
That's a great question, man. I love that question. This is why I think there's two biggest fears in mankind. It's fear of failure and fear of not being enough. As you enter this coliseum of combat, it's really easy to not want to lose in front of everybody. You don't have a mask to hide behind. Everyone knows who you are. They say your name. I mean, you're there. Everyone knows if you lose, it's you. I would say in life, instead of focusing on the result of the win or the loss on the scoreboard, I changed my mentality to two things. Mentality number one, approach number one is instead of win, lose, or draw, go in having your opponent never want to wrestle you again. When you're done, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, just make him know that you always bring it. Always. Some of my opponents in college, people are asking me, who was the toughest opponent? It wasn't the guys who won the gold medal. It were the guys who just kept going. Maybe they didn't have the technique. Maybe they didn't have the coaches. I don't know. But they had the heart. So if you're a brand new athlete, not just a wrestler, go in there, guns blazing, send it, and make your opponent, your other team, your competition know that that they never want to compete with you again. And then lastly, specifically in a two-man sport, life is hard sometimes. And so when your coach is yelling in the corner, never give up, never give up, that is hard to hear sometimes, because everyone has a breaking point. And so sometimes in those hard moments, I was like, Coach, I can't never give up. And so I reframed that to what if I'm willing to give up second? In a two-man sport, what if I was willing to give up second? Well, what does that mean? All I need to do is just do one more spin than him. one more breath of air, one more technique, one more sprint, whatever it means, just be willing to give up after them. If you're doing push-ups in competition, look over and just be willing when their face starts grimacing and yours is grimacing too, and you start like really twitching and just like shaking because you're so sore and drawn out. Just know, just know that the body will go on way, way beyond the mind, way beyond the mind, and that you could do just one more than that other person. And at the end of the day, when that happens, the scoreboard takes care of itself.
I love it. Ben, you're very inspiring. Are you going to do a TED Talk?
You know what? Someone told me that before, so we decided to create a documentary.
Okay. I feel like you can do a
Yeah,
speaking tour though. You could do that. You could do that as well.
of of course we're gonna do a speaking tour, brother. I'm doing that. That's what I do. I'm a speaker. I do that full time. So I'm an inspirational speaker. When people call me motivational speaker, it kind of bothers me a little bit because motivation is fleeting, discipline stays, but inspiration, like, dude, that changes people. And so with inspirational approach, with disciplinary tactics, things change, man. People are moved. And brother, if you can imagine doing a documentary about a small, stocky, buff dude with incredible swagger, and his name may be Ben Kjar. Dude, listen, it's an inspirational story mixed with absolute overcoming the odds. Dude, we're gonna those people that sit in their seats, every single individual. You know what's crazy cool? Tanner, TC, Jared, and everyone on our team came together and they said, how can we allow every single individual from elementary all the way to the retirement homes with the wheelchairs or walkers, how can we allow to feelings to be touched, hearts to be turned to this film? We've been able to put every single bit of energy, focus, and intention into this film so everybody has the ability to be inspired, to be a better version of themselves. And in life, man, there's dark times. Every one of us right now is going through a hard time. I know in some area of their life, whether it's overcoming addiction, whether it's needing to say you're sorry or get or claim forgiveness from somebody, whether it's you just got fired because companies had to release some employees. I don't know. It may have just been a divorce, a death. Everybody has a dark time, and the last thing they want to do, Michael, is to stand out. And I'm going to encourage you in that moment to make a decision, to shine your light, man, and step outside of that darkness. And even though it doesn't feel like it's like bright, and even though it's scary to step forward, I'm going to invite you to step forward, man, with courageousness. Courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about absolutely being afraid and still going forward.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna leave it there. Ben, Tanner, it was amazing. I don't know what else to say. I don't have a question to wrap things up. I feel like you wrapped it up beautifully right there.
What he does, man. That's what Ben does. Hey, thank you so much for your time. I do want to say if people want to find out more about the film, I mean, we're going to be doing, a festival run and everything, but you can go to standoutfilm.com to keep up with, where the film's going to go next and when we eventually do our theatrical release.
I love it. All right, guys, have a great day.
Thanks, Mike.
Michael, appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too.